Hello world! Happy New Year! And today I've got for you part 1 of 3 of my best of 2016. Hey everybody, Shelly here, and today I've got for you part 1 of 3 of my best of 2016. I'm going to break this into 3 parts because I got a lot of stuff. So what I did was I made a few categories and picked my top 5 products in each of those categories, and I'm going to keep track of them and see if next year any of them remain the same or if any of them change. These are not necessarily all products that came out in 2016, although some of them did, but these are things that if I was stranded on a desert island and could take only 5 things from each category, these are the ones I would take. So I've been making a list and checking it twice, and I've got that here for reference. And today we are going to start with concealer, foundation, and powder. And the future groups, in case you're interested in keeping an eye out, subscribe and you will get notified when these videos are posted. The second part's going to be eyeliner, mascara, eyeshadows, and lips, and the last part will be skincare, primers, and face makeup. So those will all be coming out in a top 5 format. Jazz hands! So let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to do these from number 5 up to number 1 so that you can have some build and some drama. So number 5 on my concealer list for 2016 is a drugstore concealer, and it is the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Concealer, and I have this in the shade Ivory. I like this concealer. It is a go-to everyday concealer. It does not settle into my fine lines. It does not cake up on me. It's a pretty light shade for a drugstore concealer. One of the problems with most drugstore concealers I find is that you can't get them light enough for this Casper the Friendly Ghost face, so I really do like that one. In 4th place, we have the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and the reason this is down at the bottom of the list, okay, it blends better than any concealer I've ever tried in my whole life, but in shade Very Fair, the lightest of the shades available, honey, it is not very fair. It is more fair than the Maybelline, but like I said, it is hard to find a drugstore concealer that is light and light for us pale people. So this stuff, I reach for it when I know I want to have my concealer on all day long because it's going to blend perfectly, it's not going to settle into fine lines, it's going to look beautiful, except it's not highlighting at all on me. Which brings me to my 3rd favorite concealer, which I often mix with the Too Faced Born This Way, and that is the Kat Von D Lock-It Crème Concealer in shade Light 1. Now this is a little bit too light for me. It's not the lightest that she makes. She actually makes a pure white one as well, but it is a little too light to use on its own. So I like to mix it with the Too Faced Born This Way because it too doesn't settle into fine lines. It gives wicked good coverage. So when I am extra purple, I'll actually use this with anything that I've got. And you can see it's very light and it mixes in quite nicely with basically everything I've ever tried to mix it with. So in 2nd place for the year, this is a tried and true for me. It is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, and this is in shade Fair Neutral. And this is light enough for me. It wears really well. It doesn't settle into fine lines. It's a really nice neutral concealer. If we look at the shade difference here, this is Urban Decay on the end. See, it is not as light as Light 1. Light 1 is too light for me, but compare it to the Born This Way. I mean, that is just not fair compared to something that is considered fair. That, I would say, is fair. Good stuff. But number 1, this is not going to surprise anybody because everybody's saying this, but it's true. I've got really dry skin. This stuff works great. It gives me really good coverage, and it's the Tarte Shape Tape. And I reach for it every single day. It's like a go-to. The only thing that makes me not reach for it is like, I'm like, oh, I don't want it to run out because it's so hard to find. It's always out of stock everywhere. But it wears really nice. It's light enough. It's a little more yellow than I wish it was, which is why I kind of lean back and forth between the Urban Decay, but this is the Tarte Shape Tape. These two, Urban Decay and the Tarte Shape Tape, are my absolute two favorite concealers. They really, really are good. Now that you've seen them on my skin, is Born This Way look very fair? That is not very fair. It's practically as dark as the drugstore concealer. But anyway, those are my top 5 concealers. Next up, foundation. So, you know, I am still on the quest for my holy grail foundations. I started that Foundation Fest series in an effort to help me to test out as many foundations as possible because I need to find my holy grail foundations. I found some good ones. I do have a holy grail drugstore foundation that will make this list, and I am still searching for my holy grail high-end foundation. But these are the ones that I have chosen on a regular basis and I enjoy the most out of my collection. And the first one is the Lancome Miracle Cushion Foundation. What have you just seen in the reflection? I don't know. So this comes in at number 5. It comes with the little puff. And like most of these cushion foundations that are so popular, it's inside this little sealed container. Clickety-doo, keep it all fresh. I don't know if I'm going to repurchase this. I enjoy it. It's easy. It's quick. It looks nice. It doesn't have quite as much lasting power as I would like, but the reason I might not repurchase it is all of these cushion foundations, they have so little product for a huge astronomical price. If you compare it to the price of buying a 1-ounce bottle, it's like, this is 0.5 ounces. And it costs the same as a whole ounce. Yeah, no. So number 4, I'm kind of surprised by this. And I have to say this was a tie, or I'm going to make an honorable mention. Anyway, let me just get into it. Number 4. Urban Decay All Nighter. I should have swatched the Lancome. I did not. Okay, number 4. Urban Decay All Nighter. This is a long wear foundation. I did swatch the Lancome here. You can barely see it because number 1, my cushion is almost empty, and number 2, it actually is a really good match for my skin. So it blends in quite well. I have the Lancome in this shade Ivory C. I think it's 110 Ivory C. And then this is the Urban Decay All Nighter in shade 1.5. I did not think I would do very well with a full coverage foundation like this. But I do. I have really dry skin and it still seems to work out all right as long as I put on a good base and some moisturizer. This was kind of a close call between the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation, which I also really enjoy, but I have grabbed this one more frequently, so that's why I picked it for this particular list. I really like it. The one that I reach for on a regular basis just because it's comfortable and long wearing and I like it is the Smashbox 15-Hour Wear Hydrating Studio Skin Foundation. And let me get a swatch of this. I am making very messy swatches. The only reason that I kind of have an issue with the Smashbox is it's a little bit warmer than I would like. As you can see, compared to the Urban Decay, Urban Decay is definitely a cooler undertone. And this is a little more yellow than I would like, but it's shade 1.0. I also have this in shade 2.1, which I like to mix with my IT Cosmetics CC Plus cream, which did not make the top 5, but I really like this foundation. It's comfortable, it is long wearing, it doesn't settle into fine lines. The shade is just not quite right for me, and I've tried multiple shades, and I don't really have a match. I don't like when I have to mix things. I want something to work out of the box. So that's the only diss I have on the Smashbox, but I do really like it. Number 2 is what I'm wearing today, actually, and it is a newcomer. It is recent to the list. I've only been using it for a few weeks now, but I've been using it constantly because I love it. And it is none other than the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation. And let me get this swatch going on here. I like it because it's a nice cool shade for my skin tone. I like it because the coverage is really good, especially for a drugstore foundation. I mean, for a drugstore foundation to even match me is pretty phenomenal. I like it because it's very near full coverage without drying my skin out. It's kind of miraculous to me that way. The Pro Matte totally dries me out and I don't like it at all. But this one, it wears really, really well. It doesn't settle into fine lines. It has I think my favorite part of it is really the finish. It's not quite a matte finish. It's not a satin finish. It's like a velvety, maybe a demi-matte. I don't know. It's a really, really nice looking foundation and I've been loving the heck out of it. But my new Holy Grail drugstore foundation comes in at number 1 because I've worn this. I've actually almost gone through the entire bottle at this point, and I haven't even had it the whole year. And that is the Rimmel Lasting Finish foundation. It's got SPF, Comfort Serum, and SPF 20. Comfort Serum, and this is in the shade 091 Light Ivory. The only bummer is that it does not have a pump, and that drives me absolutely nuts. But I've bought some airless pumps, and I use those. Where can I swatch this? I'm running out of space. Well, this is going to be a knuckle swatch, you guys. So here is the Rimmel on the end. Look how perfectly that matches me. It is so lovely. It is just a nice, pale, cool undertone, smooth, comfortable. I mean, I wear this almost every day. It's my everyday work, grocery getting foundation. It's super comfortable. It wears all day long. It looks really good even after 12 hours of wear. And it's drugstore. It's like $7-8. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. Last up for today's top 5 of 2016, I've got powders. So at the number 5 spot, this has been my go-to setting powder pretty much most of the year. I like it. I've heard that it is a dupe for the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and that is the Boots number 7 Perfect Light Loose Powder in translucent. And it's just your average translucent powder. It works really well to set my concealer. I also occasionally will use it to set my T-zone, my nose, my chin, my center of my forehead. It wears well, it doesn't cake up, it feels light, it does not dry my skin out. I like it. Number 4 on the list is, which list am I looking at? There we go. This one I've been using for the last few months. This was a drugstore find, and OMG, I wouldn't think I would like it, but I love it. It is from Physicians Formula. It is the Youthful Wear powder. What do they call it? It is called officially the Cosmeceutical Youth Boosting Powder Translucent. Here's the part I didn't think I would like. Illuminating finish. Now, I'm going to show this to you, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but we'll see. Can you see the little shimmeries in here? So it's got like, I don't know, micro glitter, I guess? Is it micro glitter? I don't know. But I thought, you look at it, it looks like it's got shimmery stuff. Usually shimmery stuff is going to accent and highlight texture and things I don't want accentuated. But it doesn't. I'm actually wearing it today. I think it looks really nice, and it does give just a little oomph or something. It's not shiny, it's not shimmery, it's not like putting glitter all over your face. I don't really understand how it works because I see glitter, but it doesn't look like glitter. So I don't know. It sets foundation beautifully. I have it in the shade translucent. I already told you that. I really like this stuff. They also have another version of this Youthful Wear called Spotless, and I like that one too. It's a little bit less of the shimmery effect, but without the shimmery thing, it is kind of missing something. So me wanting to get rid of my dark spots makes me choose that one, and me wanting to look a little bit sparkly makes me choose this one. So I like them both. They're good. Yes. Next up, number 3 on the list. This is actually a powder foundation, and it has surprised me. It has become my go-to when I'm not going to put on a full face and I'm just going to hurry up out the door and don't want to scare anybody. And it is the Kat Von D Lock-It Powder Foundation. I have this in shade Light 42. The powders run a little bit darker than the liquids, so I wear Light 44 in the liquid and Light 42 in the powder. So that is how that works. Next, we've got number 2 on the list. This has made a bunch of people's lists as well. It is the RCMA No Color Powder. The pros: you can totally wear this to set your concealer under your eye and it will not settle into lines. It will not cake up. It is such a finely milled powder. It is more fine than any of the other powders I've got. Cons: this bottle sucks. When you get to the point where you can't reach your little, I use a micro beauty blender to set under my eyes, and when you get to the point where you can't reach it anymore, you gotta dump this stuff out, and I feel like I'm wasting powder. Honestly, I can't wait till I use up one of my powders that's in a container like this, so I can put this in here. I wish the packaging was better, but the powder is great. And number 1 on my powder list, I just reach for this all the freaking time. That's all I can say. I use it more often than any other thing to set my foundation, and that is the Laura Geller Double Take Baked Versatile Powder Foundation in the shade Fair. Now, apparently you can use this wet and you can use it dry, and if you use it wet, it'll be like a full, foundation, and I just use it dry, and I use it to set my foundation, and it's nice. It sets everything. If something's too dewy, I don't like things to be too dewy, so I set it with this, and it'll take the shine out, but it will still look like a nice natural finish. It doesn't cake up. What can I say? I like it. It works for me. I have no trouble with it. I thoroughly enjoy it. It works. So that concludes my top 5 of 2016 for foundations, concealers, and powders. Stay tuned for my top 5 in the remaining categories. If you found this video helpful or would like to see more top 5 categories that I haven't mentioned, give me a thumbs up below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you stopping by and taking some time out of your day to watch this little humble here video. Take care of each other. Have a good one. Bye-bye.